It's a pleasure to be here today and a pleasure to conduct this ergo evaluation on you today as well. So we are going to reduce your unwanted discomfort and fatigue while working from home. So that kind of leads me to my next question. So are you experiencing any discomfort or have any questions or concerns about working from home?
Well, nothing hurts really bad, but I don't seem to ever be quite as comfortable as I'd like to be.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So as we know, the home office is not equipped with some of the ergonomic tools that we use in our physical office space. And it's no doubt that you may be feeling some fatigue or even discomfort.
I mean, I'm not using the comfortable ergonomic chair that I have in my office.
Yeah.
My office is makeshift to say the least right now. I think you've got a photo of it.
Yep, we do have a photo of it, and it's actually very common. Most of the evaluations we are seeing with our clients don't have those tools. They don't have the ergo chairs that they've had at the office. But that being said, I mean, there are some helpful common household items that can facilitate more optimal postures, and that'll reduce your fatigue and discomfort. So there's always a plus side to this. So let's go over the 3 areas for improvement within a home office workstation. So first off, we want to take a look at the chair, the keyboard, mouse, and the monitor adjustments. So Rick, I did take a peek at your photo, and you are a laptop user, which we'll touch on in just a moment. But as you can see here, we have in our don't section, we can see that we're having some forward lean postures, sort of right here where there's a rounded back. Sometimes we'll even see folks kind of scoot out of their chair to access the keyboard and mouse. And there's pretty common and easy ways to fix this. So we'll go ahead and jump to the next screen here. And you can see just with a few common household items such as books, we can elevate our laptop, if we're working on a laptop, to a much more comfortable viewing height. We can also utilize external keyboards and mice to get us into a better position to key and mouse, and making sure that we have a 90-degree angle at our elbow when using the keyboard and mouse. Also too, we want to take a look at how we are seated in the chair. So in this example, we do have an office chair, and we want to make sure it's adjusted to where our hips are slightly higher than our knees, and our feet are flat on the floor or firmly supported by a surface. It could be a footrest, it could be just the ground itself. And a lot of times, if your feet aren't supported on the floor, we can always utilize a footrest like a shoebox or a couple of reams of paper. So did you have any questions or concerns so far, Rick?
Well, one of the things that kind of struck me as interesting, one of I think the challenges I had a couple months ago when we were first starting this out was finding a home base, finding a place that I could kind of plant as my, go-to office. Found myself moving around my house, trying to, find the most comfortable place to work. And what I'm hearing you say is that we should be looking at our homes as a kind of an activity-based workspace, similar to the way offices have more recently been designed, where you're not sedentary, you're not just sitting in one place, you're moving around and working in an environment that suits the activity that you're working on at that time.
Absolutely. You kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think the biggest benefit to working from home is that dynamic nature where we can work from whether it's the couch, the dining room table, the kitchen countertop, and we can move within, seconds really to work from those environments. And that does really help alleviate some of the discomfort and fatigue that's being built up from being in static positions. Even if we're in such a great ergonomic posture and great ergonomic setup that we have at home, it can still create that fatigue and discomfort just because our body is meant to move. And so we ultimately want to utilize other areas of our home as temporary workstations. So let me give you some examples of what that may look like. And we'll go over some do's and don'ts as well of these different environments. So as you can see here, we are working from the couch or the sofa. And this may be necessarily a don't, because we can see that our back really isn't supported here. and our hips are actually lower than our knees. So this can create some unwanted back discomfort. And so what we do to fix this, it's very easy. Rick, do you actually have any pillows on your sofa?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. Most people do. And so what we can do is actually just utilize those pillows and place them behind us and underneath us to create that added support. And so once again, you can kind of see a much better posture just in this photo versus the one we just showed. I've also added some books underneath the laptop to allow me to key and mouse in a more comfortable position and also help my neck not bend as much to view the monitor.
So you guys aren't recommending just laying on the couch with your laptop on your stomach?
Hey, as long as it's not for a long period of time, I don't mind it. We've actually seen it happen before too. Yep. So our next example is going to be working from a kitchen countertop. And this is kind of our built-in sit to stand workstation, right? We can now stand while we're working, similar to how we were doing in the office. However, there are some do's and don'ts here since we don't have that height adjustability that we did at our office. And so you'll see, since I'm a taller individual, I am straining my neck and I am straining my wrist in order to access the laptop that I'm using. And you can see that from the angle here with the bent wrist and then also my neck being bent as well. Okay. So what we've done is we've simply elevated the laptop and elevated the keyboard and mouse with books to therefore get me at a much more comfortable keying and mousing height and a much more comfortable viewing height. Okay.
That's great.
Do you have any questions, Rick?
Question I'd have is how much time should somebody spend at these kind of different postures, whether sitting at a desk or standing? Is there a rule of thumb?
That's actually a great question. So what we're recommending is really anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes at any of these alternative workstations, and then utilize our primary workstation for, up to an hour at a time.
Sounds good.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and jump over to the photo that you provided me. All right. So we can see here that, Rick, you are working from a dining room table kind of setup with a dining room chair. And you can see now that your back is not necessarily supported, and we're kind of leaning out of our chair and perching out of our chair. And so we really want to make sure, and I think the biggest improvement we can make is just making sure we're sitting in the chair properly. And so by adding those pillows behind us, maybe even some pillows below us, we can get the added support that the chair may not be providing you. Also too, that may actually help with the keying and mousing scenario where, you'll be at a much more comfortable keying and mousing height. And then if possible, we can use an external keyboard and mouse with some books added to your laptop to get you a much more comfortable viewing height for the laptop monitor.
Yeah, sometimes I actually use a couple of different laptops. In fact, the one I'm using right now just for this webinar is elevated on top of a thesaurus.
Awesome.
Yep. So that I can look up fancy words, but also it helps with just kind of providing the screen at the right height for a web meeting.
Absolutely. And like I said, I think with laptops, it does get very difficult when just working off of the laptop itself, just because of that, the keyboard and the monitor are connected to each other. And so you'll either be at a good keying and mousing height and distance, but then the monitor may be a little too close and you may be bending your neck. So I think it's very important to separate the two. So utilize that external keyboard and mouse. So that way we can be at the correct keying and mousing height and distance, as well as viewing the monitor from a comfortable viewing height and distance.
As companies are, in a lot of cases, are providing credits or stipends or allowing their employees to go out and purchase things tools to make their spaces much more comfortable and ergonomic. What are the key elements that you would recommend that people go out and acquire?
That's a great question, Rick. I think really what it comes down to is nothing fancy. We don't want our end users going and purchasing very high-end expensive items. We can really just recommend them making sure that they have an external keyboard and mouse. Just a standard one works. They're quite inexpensive. And that generally is going to be the biggest help within our workspace when we're working from home, just so that if we are laptop based, we can separate to the laptop and the keyboard and mouse.
Great.
So after these adjustments are made, E3 would like you to test out your new recommendations for 1 to 2 weeks. That's what we recommend with all of our clients. After which E3 can perform a follow-up virtual ergonomics check-in to ensure that you are practicing recommended material, as well as ensuring that your discomfort, you can see that you really had, has subsided. So we look forward to hearing from you soon, Rick.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you guys and make sure I'm doing this stuff right.
Love it. Perfect.